Good morning, everybody, and we're live. Welcome to our Trio Talk. We've got Darryl and Patrick as always, and it is a hat day, so hopefully you wore your hat today. Good job, guys. Look at us. We all got the memo. Well, this weekend is coming up, and we all know what that is. It's Labor Day, which means we all have to work. Oh, wait, no, that's the opposite, right? So Labor Day actually means we get to take it off. So just as a reminder to everybody, if you are going to call the offices, realize that Trio offices are actually going to be closed on Monday. But since it is an extended weekend, are you guys doing anything fun? Patrick, I think you are. I know for sure. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm off in New Jersey, actually, visiting my son, daughter-in-law, and my granddaughter. So,
yay!
Hanging for the weekend. She's going to be 2 in November. So,
oh wow,
yeah,
time flies.
Starting to say some words and put that together. Very active.
Fantastic. Yeah, love that. Darryl, are you doing anything fun this weekend?
Well, I'm actually heading down to pick up my son's girlfriend in San Francisco today. So yeah, we're doing a road trip and then hopefully coming back before, the Labor Day rush on the weekend. So I'll be back on Saturday or something. So we'll see San Francisco and hang out down there for a bit. Nice. How about you, Aaron?
Nice. What are you doing? I'm actually heading to Eastern Washington this weekend.
Wow.
And
interesting.
Yeah, visiting some family out in the Spokane area. So that'll be fun.
Did you say the Spokane or Spokane?
The Spokane area, yeah. So I will definitely be wearing my mask. No, they told me it's okay right now, but you never know, right? You got to be careful. So that's where I will be this weekend. All right, so I want us to jump right into some Trio news. We've been getting a lot of questions about this, and we've been getting a lot of people noticing some changes to our website lately, and that is that we now have a much larger map on the website. So if you go to thinktrio.com/locations, you can see that we've got a much larger map. We've expanded, 14 new states here in the last 3 months, I think. So it's been maybe around that time. So we've expanded quite a bit very, very quickly. So really, really excited for that. You can see we're all the way as far north, I think, as Virginia, right? Going all the way down to Florida, moving all the way, doing the whole smile of the United States there, all the way on over to California. Really
very exciting. I mean, especially to open up, the Southeast, right? I mean, we've had a pretty good presence in the West for some time now, but nice to open up some of the Southeast states where we've had a bunch of demand and a lot of folks clamoring for Trio down there. So, I bet we're going to see a bunch of new agents in the Facebook groups and, lender expansion and all the rest of it. So we've already got, applications coming in all states. All the new states. So it's good to see. And you're right. I mean, we really, it's a soft opening, meaning we're not out there pushing this hard. We want to get the systems and structure in place, make sure we've got agents for people and all of that. So for those of you who are in brokerages or lenders with offices in our new markets, please let them know about us and let them know that now they can, join you in working with our program.
And sign up for training, and Aaron's going to be very busy with his work.
Yeah, I've getting a lot of people that are super excited because they may not even be in that state, but they're licensed in that state, right? And they have customers and people they can help in that state, especially the lenders I'm talking to. They're super excited. So take a look at the map. Like I said, Virginia down to Florida. We've got all the way the entire Southeast to Arkansas, Louisiana, obviously Texas, and then moving all the way to California on the West Coast. So really, really exciting right there. Well, guys, it is the end of summer. I guess that's what Labor Day says, right? It also says you can't wear white after Labor Day for some reason. So there's a lot of things that Labor Day signifies, but it's the kind of the start of fall, right? And so that's the whole idea about not wearing white after Labor Day. And so that means maybe possibly in your area, because now that children are going back to school, right? Summer's kind of ending. That summer rush is kind of going away, right? So now we have that opportunity to kind of evaluate what's going to happen, because there are still several more months left in the year. And so it's always good to start evaluating what has happened so far and evaluate what you've been doing, and also just to kind of evaluate what you can do in these last 4 months before the end of the year. So we always like to go ahead and evaluate your business plan. Now, Darryl, I know you are a broker. You owned a brokerage with many agents before. What would you say to your agents at this time?
I mean, Aaron, right now people are still pretty busy, right, with closings from end of summer, but you're exactly correct. I mean, I think you mentioned we've, we did a similar briefing last year at this time, and it's never too early to start thinking about, revisions to your business plan. And the market has changed dramatically, right? So there's a bunch of learning that's happened over the summer, some new opportunities. So, in my brokerages in the past, I mean, the number one thing was making sure that people are thinking forward and having their business plan in a written form that can be evaluated. And as important as setting your new goals is also evaluating what happened to you, over this last summer and spring, and what did you do well? What are you missing? What do you need to build upon? Thinking about your education and changeover, in your licensing, if you're thinking about classes you can take. So all of those things are important in taking a look at your planning this time of year.
Absolutely. It's good to make sure that you are hitting the goals that you thought you were going to be hitting, right? Obviously we've approached 2/3 of the year. So hopefully you've hit at least half your goals that you were trying to hit, right? And I always think it's good to just go ahead and evaluate what your accomplishments were for this year so far, right? Many times when you evaluate a business plan, we look at, oh, I haven't done that yet, or, oh, I still need to do that, right? But also make sure, pat yourself on the back and look at what you've actually done, what you have accomplished this year, right? And a thing I think that's really, really important to go ahead and take a look at, look at the closings you've done so far this year. Where did you get those leads, right? Did they come from Trio? Did they come from social media? Did they come from lead generation sources, right? Take a look at those sort of things so that you can kind of see, okay, has your plan been working so far, right? That's an easy way to go ahead and take a look at it right there. And then finally, it's always kind of good, peek over the fence and take a look at, what's going on with your competition. What are they doing, right? There's always somebody in the office that you're like, wow, how do they make it look so easy, right? How do they have so many closings, whatever that is? And this is a time to take a look at your value, your competition. What are they doing for better or for worse?
Yeah. And I think that like you said, Aaron, within your office and your marketplace, but also, today, that's what's great about like our Facebook group, chatting with other agents and seeing what they've been successful with, and looking at again what your plans are and your revisions. I think, plus from a budget perspective, thinking about between now and the end of the year, and hopefully you've had some good closings over the summer months, and that'll continue through here into the fall. And it's always interesting for us is that, when people think about their plans right now, we usually see a very strong year end. We see a December, oftentimes October will be a slow closing month for people. We actually do fairly well in the last couple months of the year. And I think that people are, really wanting to get in before the new year. They're perhaps moving over the holidays. They want to be in a new house for Christmas. So thinking forward about some of those changes in people's lives, now that, again, summer's pretty hot in some parts of our country, right? So, it's a good transition time where in the fall people can think more about home instead of just about recovering from COVID and doing their, I think their travel, whatever you call it, rebound travel, or whatever you want to call it, right? So people have been busy this summer getting out of COVID. So I think that there probably will be a busier fall for everybody.
Well, it should be also interesting too, with the lack of supply and the multiple offers on homes and the competition from a home buyer's perspective, if some of that will ease up now that people have settled in with school and back to the kind of normal routine, if you will, that it may provide some opportunity for those that have been on the sidelines that now may be able to put their toe back in the water and find a house without that excessive competition.
For sure. And also think about the major employers in your area, because most of those folks have been pushing back return to office days, I should say. So, thinking about those employers, and they're going to be probably hiring and replacing some folks that decide not to move back. And so there'll be some opportunities for new people moving in for jobs and the like as well.
Absolutely. I keep getting and seeing, job fair signs on the news. I see them on the billboards and things, there's definitely a huge influx of hiring going on right now. Right. So there's a lot of turnover, and there's a lot of opportunities to reach new people that are getting into new jobs. Right.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity right there.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's also a good reminder about, one of the big benefits of Trio. I mean, I was just reviewing and approving a exception this morning on an application, and it was the same scenario, right? People are changing jobs right now. So that makes it difficult for a mortgage underwrite. But as long as the income's consistent and we can see that, this one had an offer letter that was signed, and, we're making it conditioned on some pay stubs coming in, right? But we can use that new income and qualify them for Trio, whereas you're going to have a real tough time getting them into a mortgage. So, be thoughtful of that when you're doing your interviews with your new customers, or even when you're out farming and looking for people that, are perhaps renting right now, that they moved into town and are, they're looking to buy, but they've been told no from their friends, perhaps, or from their lender that they chatted with about their income.
Absolutely. Well, let's now start looking at different groups of folks. Let's talk about agents first, what they can do specifically. We've kind of just hit some general points right now. Let's talk about agents specifically. And this is one that I always like to remind them of. If you're getting a warm lead, act on it quickly, right? Customers are anxious, right? They have their paper in hand. They're ready to go shopping. Sometimes that day they're excited to get that phone call and get going on it, right? And so act quickly on whatever you get in terms of a customer. Remember, whatever Trio is going to be sending you, it's always going to be a warm lead. These customers are approved. They're ready to go. We're never going to send you just a warm body. This is a customer that's ready to go shopping right then. And, I guess early bird kind of gets the word on this, right? Worm on this.
Yeah. I mean, Aaron, that's a really good point. And remember that what you just said is the most important. These are approved customers. So they've been waiting. Usually, some folks, especially if they're self-employed or they have changes in income,
Sure,
they've been working with our processing team for at least 2-3 weeks now, right? Getting documentation in and being reviewed. So they're getting really antsy to get out there and
that's a
get
great
themselves
point.
shopping.
Yeah.
So if you wait, they're making a phone call to someone that didn't get that intro, right? And we would much rather have them work with our preferred agents than to have to, work with a new agent that doesn't know our program and struggles with it and ends up sometimes with challenging customer situations, right? So, these folks are really ready to go shopping. Many times they already have homes picked out. So to not return a call for a Trio lead, you're just taking money out of your bank account. You're, disappointing a customer that is ready to go shopping and has been told that you're the one that's going to take care of them. So yeah, please do respond quickly to those leads.
Absolutely. All right. Second thing for agents, and we're just focusing on agents now. Well, I promise we'll get to everybody else. Agents, create relationships and systems with lenders. Now that things could possibly be slowing down just a little bit, like you said, this is a great time to pick up the phone and reach out to lenders, not just for obviously approvals in any sort of way, but to create relationships and to create systems. Patrick, I'll let you kind of comment on this one right here.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an obvious, and I think most of you probably are already doing this, or at least if you're not, you should be, for sure, as far as developing the relationships. And that goes across the entire real estate, making relationships with, mortgage loan officers and lenders, introducing them to our program if they're not familiar with it, for sure. But also, Aaron, you mentioned, relationships with builders, with title agents and title companies, even with, housing agencies out there that may have, they may have people that need servicing. I mean, you name it. There's no shortage of opportunities. Going to employers, like Darryl mentioned, and talking to them, and some have relocation relationships already with other firms, but a lot of them don't. Maybe small businesses. So a lot of good opportunities, but specifically on the lenders. And one of the things we're focused on, especially in our new markets, is expanding those lender relationships. Our program's open to all lenders. So it's just a matter of, just like you for the agents, understanding our program, learning about our program. We'll introduce you to either a correspondent or a wholesale broker channel relationship that we have to get you onboarded as a firm in all of those opportunities. So it only helps generate more volume.
Yeah. I was just speaking with a great broker yesterday in Mississippi, and she was saying she wanted to kind of build her team before they went out and played ball. She doesn't want to pass the ball to somebody and they're still in training or trying to figure out how it works and everything. It makes perfect sense. So love that analogy. It makes perfect sense. So Sandra, shout out to you out there. All right, lenders, we're going to talk about you right now. And this is always just a good thing. And I'll hand this one back on over to you again, Patrick. But turning those late stage underwriting surprises into trio deals, what can they do to go ahead and obviously reverse that? I mean, to make that happen.
So, there are a couple different ways, but first of all, they've got to be set up with us as a lender to do business with our program. That's first and foremost. So that's why it's no cost to them to get set up, and their firm should be set up. But on those late stages, or even on maybe customers that they could be on the fence as far as they could be a late stage later or not. Never hurts to set them up in our program. Either you can apply through our link loan program, or you can go straight to our thinktrio.com website and have them apply directly through there. So at least you have that in your back pocket. So if something does happen, you don't have to start from scratch. You're ahead of the game already. And quite honestly, you should go back to some of those that have already been denied and see if you can get them, to apply for our program and get approved. So then you can take them back shopping. I mean, you should always do that.
Absolutely. Darryl, I'm going to throw this one on over to you about mining and loan denials. Obviously, everyone's always concerned about the current influx of customers coming in, but what about those folks that were here 6 months ago, 9 months ago that were denied, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's especially the case now that refinancing is drying up, right? So, I mean, lenders are looking for business. This is different than it was, 9 months ago when lenders weren't even, they weren't talking to agents. They're just focused on getting their refinances completed for their customers. So, now's the time to go back and take a look at what was in the purchase channel and folks that did make application. And this is where, loan officers can work with maybe high producers even, and go talk to their high producers that are not doing this and say, hey, can I make a deal with you? We can work a cost sharing program on this if we can get some of your denials converted and put them into Trio. So there's, again, it's being creative and thinking about how you can supplement your business and how you can work with others to, expand the business that you're already doing. But purchase is the name of the game. And lending guidelines are not getting any less restrictive, and the population is only so big, right? So at some point in time, you're going to be really looking at how do we expand, get the funnel bigger, whatever you want to call it. But definitely Trio is one of those key tools to expanding that business. And the lenders that are doing this well, they're just doing more. It's just very simple. All it takes is a conversation with that customer ahead of time that you think is on the margin, and just let them know up front, because if not, they're going to shop and they're going to say, oh, well, you can't get me done. I've got a 620 credit score and I need 100% financing. And you say no, they're going to just turn around and make a phone call and you're going to be out. But if you bring Trio in up front and say, hey, we've got great solutions for you, and it could be like Patrick said, through a link home loan, but you need to bring those things up early and prepare the customer so that you can solve the problem. Because if you don't, like I said, there's tons of lenders looking for business and they're marketing all the time for your customers. So it's better to have the solutions.
Yep, exactly. And that's one case where we have one agent that did that. They teamed up with a lender to basically share the costs of putting on an event and, inviting in customers, introducing them to, a new way to get financed into home ownership. So, there's a good way to make as Darryl, as you mentioned earlier about the budget, there's a good way to kind of spread that budget a little bit further, is to do some of those cooperative events and opportunities with lenders specifically or other partners.
Absolutely. Let's move on to just customer service in general. And I call it customer service, but we all kind of know this isn't a knock on anyone's ability to do customer service, but I always like to encourage agents just to become a customer resource, right? I'm just going to use my parents, for example. They have known their real estate agent now for 40 years. She's closed, I think, about 10 different homes with my parents who like to jump around quite a bit, apparently. So, but they're now
they're just following you, Aaron.
That's exactly what, well, now they are, right? Now they're coming here. So, but the important thing is if they have any questions, they call her first, right? About anything to do with, real estate in general, just becoming that resource for customer questions, right? Otherwise they're going to go to, the interweb and different things and maybe go to different folks, right? And there's a lot of different opinions out there, but if you become that, the consigliere for that family, that's fantastic, right? And so become that customer resource.
Aaron, so tell the audience, what are some of the key things that this agent's done? Do you know? I mean, usually that involves drip campaigns and, some letters every once in a while. And
yeah, she's one of those top agents in her area, and she has focused on she has a certain part of that city that she knows like the back of her hand. She knows everything that's coming up for sale, everything that's listing. She knows all the major builders in that area. She knows all the lenders in that area. Sometimes I think people think, oh, I need to do all of Dallas, Fort Worth. Well, that's a pretty big footprint right there, right? Maybe just focus on Rockwall, just focus on, a different, just a more specific area. And then you can kind of expand from there. But this lady, she has done just certain neighborhoods, certain school zones, certain areas. And it's not saying that she won't go anywhere else, but she knows everybody in those areas. She can pick up a phone. She knows all the lenders. She knows all the title folks. She knows all the builders in that area. And so she's a resource to them as well, right? And so that's always kind of good. When my parents were looking for a home, she actually called a few of the lenders and a few of the agents. They were looking at homes that were not on the market yet, right? They had not been put on the market yet, so they could get a good price for it. And, that's from an agent who knows people, who's made those connections, right?
Right. It's really being a part of the community. And I think that's the value of the local real estate agent versus the online shops that are trying to say that that's not necessary anymore, right? So, I mean, that's a fantastic illustration, Aaron.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and talk about preparing customers for Trio. And I was preparing them for the Trio application process and really just the full transaction process. I think this involves setting realistic goals for those customers, but I think it's good to just kind of sit them down and go, this is what the process looks like. I say this because I got a call just the other day, guys, from an agent who said, well, my customer wants to move in the next 3 weeks. And I asked her, well, when have you been able to actually close on a house and get a customer into a home in 3 weeks? And she goes, oh, never. I said, well, we're the same exact thing. We're doing the exact same thing here. We'd love to help them out that fast, but it's just not possible unless it's perhaps a Trio ready home or something. I was going to say, right?
Except for it's move-in ready, then have something available in their neighborhood, then it can be done that fast, right? But otherwise, you're exactly on that.
You can't even get an appraisal back in 3 weeks anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
No, no,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah, our friends just moved. It's taken them 5 weeks for their appraisal right now where they
Yeah.
live. They're a little more remote, but that's okay, and as long as people just kind of understand what is realistically happening, like you said, some things just may take longer than others, but also that's assuming that the customer knows which home that they want and that it's available and that it's empty, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
But
there's a lot of ifs there.
yeah, but to your point, Aaron, I think, sitting down initially and going over the financial obligations is one of the keys. And, they're using the mobile app that we have, helping them
Mhm.
understand the cash requirements, and, from an application perspective, making sure that they do have documentation, because don't waste your time if they don't. We're going to require
Yeah.
full documentation. So we want to see their normal stuff, right? Just like a lender would. Again, we'll make exceptions, but if they have something that is new or changing, or they've had a trouble or a blip in their past, making sure that they explain that to us and not try and get it past us is very important. Because if they try and get it past us and then we begin to see the story behind the scenes and the numbers, that's when things get really hard to proceed with, right? Because then we have a customer that we
Mhm.
feel like is not disclosing everything. So we're great. We know folks have issues. Have them document it. Put it in a letter of explanation, just like you would, you know, for a lender, but like you would need to understand on your side. So I think, ensuring that we understand the scenario for the underwriting side, and then again, making sure they know the numbers and the right shopping price. And that's something that you can do ahead of time with a customer, is you can do your own pre-qualification with them, essentially ensuring they've got, income that can be documented and credit and the rest, and then use the mobile app and do some pricing runs for them on monthly payments, and use something safe like a third of their gross household income. Plug that in, get a max home price, see what you can find in the area. Let them go shopping, even with homes that you send to them, and begin that relationship. And then if it looks like they've got stuff that they like in a neighborhood they want to live in, then you can, really know the action steps and get them emotionally vested in getting one of those homes in contract.
Mhm.
And I think the
Absolutely.
value, and therein is knowing your competition to you guys. We talked about earlier, these internet platforms that are out there competing against the agent, where it's a do it yourself for the customer, but nothing replaces your expertise as an agent for
Mhm.
that customer. Especially for buyers, but I know a lot of you are probably competing for listings, and our focus is on competing for the customer to go take them to find a house to purchase. So knowing your customer is an integral part of that, and developing that relationship and that trust and knowledge and expertise for your customer. They're going to work with you if you can develop that and culture that expertise and knowledge that you already have.
Yep. And back to Aaron's point about his story about the 40-year agent, is that our really successful trio agents do the same thing with our customers.
Yeah.
They're working with them through their lease term on their purchase, so that they can be a resource to them when they're ready to then sell that home and upgrade. Because a
Yeah.
lot of our families are having increases in income, and they're getting into a neighborhood. They're making sure that they get to purchase the home and get the equity that they've built. But then they're going to most likely be growing, changing, moving. And so that relationship establishment with us is just as important, and a very simple opportunity for our agents.
Yeah, it creates a lifetime of
Yeah.
referrals, so to speak, for that
and,
that
and it
agent.
is and it is a best practice, and we see it, you guys, all the time. The agents out there that have that rapport with the customer, and have taken the time to work with them, we never see, when perhaps there's a delay in appraisal timing or something, and there's a delay in the closing. We never see any issues when we have those relationships through our agents versus the ones that just don't care about the customer.
And and we're
um,
saying that about agents, Patrick. I just
yeah.
want to make sure that we also, loan officers, it's exactly the same, if
Same.
not more important, because you're
Yeah.
involved in helping them being able to actually get the new loan when they're ready to purchase, or make the right referral into the assumption for their mortgage. And, depending upon rates and what they're going to need to do downstream, you've got refinance business and the rest of it with our customers.
You got it. Super important.
One thing that a lot of our top agents do, and a lot of what our top loan officers do, and this is what that lady yesterday, that broker in Mississippi I was talking to, she does not want to submit an application until she's gathered all the documentation, and she wants the lender to kind of go through it all, and then she wants them to submit that application together. That's what a lot of our, creating that system so that she has, this is a possible Trio customer. Let's send it to the lender. They're going to go ahead and complete that application with them. They're going to go ahead and gather that documentation and work with them on some of those difficult things that are like rental history or P&L state, profit and loss statements, those sort of things that can take a little bit more time, right? So, preparing your customers in any sort of way is really, really helpful. Sometimes when they submit that application too early, the customer's like, okay, I'm ready to go shopping, but there's still some more things that need to happen, obviously, before that happens. So anything, again, you can do on your end to set expectations for the customer in terms of timelines and processes and things like that. That's always going to be super, super helpful, so that, because remember, this is an emotional time. It's an anxious time, right? And this is just a great way to just kind of make sure that they understand what's happening and that this is very normal about what's happening right here.
Yeah. And just one last comment there. I mean, if in the scenario you guys were chatting through and someone does need to get in 3 weeks, if their app is clean and it's prepared and it's organized, we can get approval done in 24 hours. So it really doesn't take us long if we have everything in place and know what needs to be done, and the agent's communicating to us, hey, we've got a house, this customer is ready to go, I've got everything prepared. We can turn that very quickly as long as we understand the situation and the timing around the situation. So it isn't that every app, is difficult. It's not. But if it's not put together well and the customer is dribbling information into us and it's going through multiple, tiers of review, then it drags out and the approval letters come, accordingly.
Yeah, I think that's always such a kind of a shocker. If you have everything ready to go, we can get you out on the market shopping super quickly. So it's great. Well, I want to touch upon this last subject here because we're almost out of time, but I want to make sure, let's talk about lead generation sources. And I think you mentioned this earlier, Darryl, about, hosting webinars and things like that, customer events. Not everybody does it, but we've done such a good job of this during the pandemic. And now, I'll just be honest, because I usually do most of those. I think we have 4 of these set already in September in different markets. They're now becoming much more popular. Just to give you guys an idea, Trio will host this event for you. We'll do the marketing for you. We'll do the presentation for you. You just need to be the friendly face on there so that customers know who the actual resource is, who's the person that I'm going to go to with questions about this. And then you get all those resources. You get all those leads that come from that particular event. Now, we've had one agent that's doing this all by herself. But to your point earlier, Patrick, we have another one who's actually sharing this with a lender. They're sharing that cost and going in this together so that they have a system in place, but also they can go ahead and cost share what's going on here. So I think that's always a great thing. If that's something you'd like to do, please reach out to our marketing department, marketing@thinktrio.com. It's a great way to get lead generation resources. Our best so far was Dallas last year. We had 250 customers attend, and our worst was, and I'm not going to say the city, but we only had 150 customers attend. I think any agent would be very happy with 150 leads out there, right? When I say worst, it makes it sound bad, but it's really great. Who wouldn't like to have 150 names? You've got information on them, what their credit score is, what their timing is, right? So that's a great, quick, and easy lead generation resource that you don't have to put a lot of energy into either, right? And so that's always kind of nice. Open houses, Darryl, I'll let you kind of comment on this. A lot of agents like to use open houses to build lead generation, and obviously during COVID, that was a little bit tougher, but now that things are opening up, I've definitely talked with a lot of agents that this is something that they're doing, and just wanted to know if you had any comments on that as a broker with your brokerage.
I mean, open houses sound fine, but for my money, I'd do that 150 to 250 route and do a
Yeah.
virtual
Makes
event.
perfect
I mean,
sense. I
just to be
mean,
clear, I mean, open houses are such a scattershot way to get leads, and you do spend time and money on those, and the amount of time and money that you can spend is reduced. And holding an event, not to push it, but gosh, why wouldn't you do that? I mean, it's
right.
amazing to me there's only
Mhm.
four. I mean, we're talking about thousands of agents, and we've got business plans we're talking about, and people can't. It's always funny to me. You got to invest your time to get some benefit. And
Mhm.
there are strategic and smart ways of doing that. And then there are incremental ways. And I think open houses are incremental. They're traditional. They're old school.
Mhm.
Virtual events and marketing effectively are what that's how the top agents get their business done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, guys, again, if you're interested in that, marketing at thinktrio.com, just go and email us. We'll share with you how to go ahead and do that. Super easy, very effective. And yeah, we try not to be on top of each other in one particular market. So we try to spread the love a little bit. So make sure you do get these going. I think we already have our first ones already scheduled in October already. So this is becoming very
And
popular because I realize this is a low cost way to get a lot of great resources and not have to re-explain Trio every time, right? You get to do it all one time, which is great. So,
yeah,
well,
that's great.
guys, yeah. Well, we're at the end of our time, and I keep battling with my cat here. That's if you see me doing that. So I'm trying to get him not on screen here.
Come on.
All right, I'll let him go. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
just remember, folks, Labor Day, we are closed. See, there he is. Okay. All right. Labor Day, we are closed. And so if you have any questions, we will answer your questions, emails, phone calls in the order in which we receive them on Tuesday, the day after Labor Day. So since a lot of us are traveling right now during Labor Day, guys, please be safe and have a wonderful trip. To everybody else, have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
All
Thanks,
right.
Aaron.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.